Live each and every day, love and live your way. Do your very best, learn and lead today. Be the best you can, it's your life. Take a stand, so live your best life. Live your best life. Come on and live your best life with Dr. Julia Royston. Well, welcome to another edition of Live Your Best Life. I'm Dr. Julia Royston, praying and hoping and believing for that abundant life that only God can give, exceedingly abundantly above to the full and overflowing and all of that good stuff. So I know that our time together, every time we are together, I want to make sure that you are introduced, inspired, and empowered to new people that are going to give you that inspiration and information to help you move your life forward to be your best self. So I am super excited to introduce to you Dr. Robert Hassell, and he is in the Music City, but I'm going to let him introduce himself, where he's from, what he does, and give you his contact information, because I want you to have it before and at the end. Dr. Hassell.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Robert O'Keefe Hassell. I'm a native here in Nashville, Tennessee, the Music City. So excited to be with you. You can contact me on Facebook at Dr. Robert O'Keefe Hassell. You can follow me on Twitter at Dr._Hassell14. You can also visit my personal website at www.drokefetoday.org. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. If you're there, you can follow me at Dr. O'Keefe Today.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Dr. O'Keefe is highly active on social media. So follow him. He will inspire you. He'll make you laugh. He'll make you cry. He'll make you shout. He'll make you run them down the aisles if you're in church. But anyway, Dr. Hassell will do it for you. So tell us, Dr. Hassell, what do you have your PhD in?
I obtained my doctorate in education, curriculum instruction with a concentration in curriculum planning from the Department of Teaching and Learning at Tennessee State University.
As a publisher, we thank Dr. Hassell because his manuscripts are impeccable. I just have to say that. As his publisher, his manuscripts are impeccable, and we thank him for it.
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you currently do? Where do you teach? Do you coach? Tell us more about what you do.
So I am a jack of all trades, they say. I am Clark Kent by day, Superman by night. I work as learning support staff for writing at Tennessee State University, where I've been for 3 years this past December 1st. I'm also an associate professor of humanities and arts at American Baptist College. I've been there for 6 years. I was actually hired there after obtaining my master's. So I've had a total span of higher education for 10 years now, which has really been a blessing that I was able to build from both sides as I matriculated through my doctoral program.
That is incredible. Okay, so being educated in Black, does it have its challenges? Has it been a challenge for you? Tell us a little bit about that, because I know people are like, well, what age person is he? He's very, very young. Those of you who are listening on the podcast, those of you who are seeing it on YouTube or any of the other video platforms, you'll see he's extremely young. So talk about what it's like being young, gifted, and Black. How about that?
As I went through my doctoral program and subsequently finishing and entering into the career field and postdoctoral work, they tell you coming out of the door, congratulations, you're one of the 2%. But when they put that hood on and you walk across the stage and you get that degree in hand, there's a sobering reality once you exit the stage. And that stage is not only that you're African American, but you're also male. So you go back into your communities, your various settings, and you are a phenomenon, almost an anomaly, because there are not many people that look like you and there are not many people who have navigated the trails that you have, and you feel an oversensing or overwhelming sense of responsibility.
Sure.
And I can say, entering into the postdoctoral world, I felt a tremendous urge and emphasis to go back and show people that you can do anything that you put your mind to, that when you lend your time, your talent, your energies, your focus, and your discipline, combined with a grounding that God gives you, you can absolutely turn the world upside down. It's just not a matter of inspiration for me. It's not a matter of having the prefix in front of my name. It's getting in front of people who have come from the hood,
right?
You know, having dealt with untraditional family dynamics, trauma, emotional, psychological, all the myriad of issues that you could confront in developmental phases, and telling them, hey, it may happen to you, but there are some things that if you align yourself and see past where you are, you can position yourself for a great future. And I also want to say it's important to note that even though most people, when they look at me, I'm 34, to the average person, you know, because people are like, you're so articulate. I majored in English. My mother was a teacher, you know, dictionaries, defining words, speaking and talking right, you know.
Right.
Barely had ebonics going on in the household, but she was an advocate for the King's English. My village support system was very, very critical. I did grow up in a single parent home. My dad was in and out of prison for approximately probably 30 of my 34 years. He did face a tremendous, tremendous battle with drug addiction, which put our family in such a crazy, crazy dynamic. Sure. However, I can say that my mother and my grandmother were the pillars that kept our lives centered. And I mean, you know, we were going through those types of traumas and those places of difficulties, but we were sustained in an environment where we were able to succeed. We didn't miss a beat. We participated in more stuff. I don't even see how my mother did it. Like, we were in everything that was free: T-ball, soccer, academic bowls, summer enrichment camps, all of these things. And she made the time to instill in us everything that she had. And she ended up, of course, with me, the geek of the family, the professor / teacher. My middle sister, she went on, she was a 2-time Tennessee State Miss Basketball. She was a McDonald's All-American, went to go play D2 at University of Georgia in Athens.
Wow.
And then ended up getting drafted into WNBA, the Indiana Fever, and then playing overseas in Spain, Israel, and France. Wow. And then my younger sister graduated from the University of Louisville and is a certified counselor at KIPP Nashville. So my mother was very, very critical in instilling the importance of education and the ability to follow through, not just to have a goal, but to follow through to actually go pursue it. And my grandmother my grandmother's 84 years old.
Wow.
And she only graduated with a elementary education. But even in the middle of that, she was always there to push us. And I think that was the main, you know, my mother was the reinforcing factor, but my grandmother was the push. And, you know, hearing those stories of how they weren't afforded the opportunities that we were afforded today made me want to go back and say, hey, I not only need to do this for myself, my family, but I need to do this for the next generation that's coming behind me, because they need to know that success is possible, that you can get out of bad situations. Like, there is a future beyond what you're facing right now.
Well,
you know,
more importantly, you're a testament to that previous generation, that they did their job. But this is the one thing I want you to address too, is that you had to buy in. Because no matter what, I mean, you know, let's just be honest, the chips were stacked against you. The odds were stacked against you that you can follow in your father's footsteps as opposed to your mother's footsteps. So there has to be a buy-in, because there can be all kinds of drilling, there can be all kinds of opportunities. There can this next generation, they dig their heels in. They either are all in or they're not. They I'm going to decide. You can model it, you can tell me, you can try to instruct me all you want to, but I'm going to do me. So how do you get to the buy-in part? That's the how do you get to the part? Because see, you had to do your part. Your mother can talk about it. And yes, my grandfather, he couldn't write or read until he died. So he was illiterate then, but he was probably one of the greatest proponents and supporters of all the things we did. So
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter about that piece, because I say something he said probably every single solitary day, because he had an inner drive that surpassed education. But most
Absolutely.
of my cousins and all of us, the grandkids are all educated. You know, we've gotten degrees and gone to college. So it doesn't matter about that. But then we still have to go to class. We still have to turn in the test. We still have to walk across the stage, get the paper, not act a fool. We still have to do our part. So how do you get the buy-in? That's what I want you to address. How do you get
So let me tell you. So the buy-in was very, very easy for me, because when I entered high school, knowing that there was a chance that my father may not come back for whatever reason. So I had to be in a position as a man to be able to provide for my family. And it was my utmost priority to put myself in a position where I was able to provide for my family, do something that I wanted to do, and to be able to subsequently put my sisters in a better position than I was. And I can honestly say I did sell myself short at first, because I realized it was much. I was just saying, okay, if I can get this far, well, maybe my sisters can go farther, etc.
Right.
But it was something that hit in me my senior year. Is like, okay, it's not just for you to go to college, but you have to go and exceed and excel to go the furthest you can go.
Right.
And it's not necessarily about you. It's about showing that it can be done. And as far as the buy-in, I can remember I worked 2 jobs that will forever be etched in my mind. I worked in a factory called Menlo Logistics, and it was manual labor. And so you were on conveyor belts, wrapping pallets, unloading trucks, and doing all of those things. And I can't, and getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, man, I said, I'm going to class. I'm making A's. I'm doing this because warehouse work is not for me at all. Another job that I had was I had the responsibility of putting up grandstands out at the racetrack here in Wilson County. And of course, they sent us out there, and it was hot, like dreadfully hot. Like you would step outside and melt. And of course, you had the hot iron poles. They would brush up against your skin and burn. And I decided and made up my mind, you know what? I'm going to school. I'm finishing. This is okay for some people, but it's not okay for me.
Yeah, it's a respectable job. It's honest living. It's not illegal. It's not immoral, but it's not for you.
It's not for me. It was meant to motivate me. And not only seeing that is another thing that was very pivotal to me. I watched my grandmother, who is 84 now. She worked at the Texas boot factory. She worked almost 40 hours a week. And plus, at the first of the month when there was there was overtime, they would have to work overtime. And she worked almost 30 years. And you know how much her retirement check was?
Yeah.
$25 and some change.
Jesus.
And every time she would get that check every month, and because I would go check the mail and I would see that, I was like, man, this lady has been on the conveyor belt doing all of these boots, lifting and all of this stuff, and all she gets is a $25 check. Because the company, I guess they had folded, and you know how those settlements and stuff go. So she didn't get, the whole retirement thing. But that was enough for me. You're like, you know what? I owe it to myself to, if I'm being afforded this opportunity, to seize it. And I was not a first generation college student, because my mother went to and graduated from Belmont University. She's actually in the Belmont Hall of Fame. She was Galen Corder then, but she's Gail Hassell now. Because she married my dad, of course. That's how I got here. But seeing that, seeing my mother, understanding my mother's educational past, seeing my grandmother, how she had, struggled, made me, and then, the catalyst from, seeing my father, I had to, in an early age, decide for myself and say, hey, this is not the life you want, and you don't have to live this life. And once I realized that I had choices, Miss Julia, and that I had infinite choices and infinite possibilities. And all it took was me giving it effort, like concerted effort. And I'll say adding that whimsical fun twist to it, because you got to love whatever you're doing.
Oh yeah, you got to do it. Got to do it.
It proved to give me the momentum I needed to help build the person that I'm becoming. And I don't say I have become, but I'm still becoming, because there's bits and pieces of me that still need to be built up or that can be built better. So that's just been the continual momentum behind me doing everything that I do.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so we're gonna take a break right here, because I'm just like, huh? Oh my goodness, all the things that he's accomplished at such a young age. But we'll be right back, talk more to Dr. Hassell in just a moment.
I know it's been hard. I know it's been rough. The days were long and the nights were tough. But in this life, you'll win, you'll lose. Choose in spite of all the pain to begin again. Choose in spite of all the pain to begin again. Mistakes you made, Lord knows you paid. But that was then. Today's a brand new day, because in this life you win and sometimes you lose. Yeah. So choose in spite of all the pain to begin again. Choose in spite of all the pain to begin again. Begin again. Choose to fight, don't quit, keep on, don't give in. He's got the way out. You can make it, you can take it. With God's help, you can. He won't leave you, He won't forsake you. He'll always be there for you. Put one foot in front of the other, my sister and my brother. God will do it, He'll fix it. Choose. It's your choice. It's your choice. Oh yeah, you can, yes you can, yes you can, yes you can. Choose in spite of all the pain to begin again.
So we're back with Dr. Hassell. So glad he's still with us. and from the Music City in Nashville, educator, author, and that's where we're going to switch gears right now. We're going to talk about writing, something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm honored to be the publisher of Dr. Hassell's books. Yay! And, so I want him to introduce his books to you, tell him about, we know kind of the background of his writing because of his mother and then his own endeavors, but talk about your books, what's the inspiration behind them, and then kind of what's next and how you can get your books.
Absolutely. So the first book that I wrote, I was afforded to write, it came out in 2016. It's entitled Evolve. This book was it was my first book. It was my baby. And I was encouraged to write it upon meeting Miss Royston, because I didn't think it was that good at the time. But basically what the book is about was me developing as an African-American male and speaking to places of trauma, trial, and tribulation, and how you can overcome those in practical ways. In this book, you see my own personal experience, and not just, it's not a tell-all story, etc., but it is a really gut-wrenching, in-your-face, transparent talk on what young adolescent men face and how it looks, how they respond to it, or, the things that, people do not see. All of the issues, the unspoken, the unmentionables, and even in some places that we deem untouchable, to confront those issues and to have a critical dialogue on how not only young men can overcome, but I want people to see themselves in that book. And of course, I didn't think much of it after I put it out, but the testimonies of men be like, oh my gosh, somebody said everything that I wanted to say. Like, I knew I wasn't by myself. Like, if you can do it and you can get out, I can too. Not only that, but I think it was one of those books that really echoed across the generations, because I found teenagers latching on and being like, hey, like, can I get that book? And, of course, I found myself giving those books. And just to know that it has led to, the root of it was not only personal growth, but it was evolution, which was moving from one state to another. And I can honestly say that in my life, when I go back and read the book, I see how I'm changing consistently and moving. And it's not just an age change. It's not just a mindset change. It's allowing yourself to be what you need to be for the hour that you're in. Right. And then being readily adapted and able to become what you need to be for moments past that. So that would Evolve. The next book, they're all available on Amazon, Amazon.com. You can order them, right? And you can order them, they're on there. The next book is called Clergy Conversations, dealing practically with the person behind the pulpit, which was published in 2018. So I'm a preacher, unapologetically. I am your
he does that too. He does that
too. Most people see me, I'm a scholar, nerdy, geeky boy. I'm like, who's that guy behind the pulpit? Yes, that's me. It's just a different dimension of who I am. And so being active in ministry, I decided to write a book that would speak directly to clergy and people who work in ministry leadership. And the reason I did this is because I'm a certified holistic life coach for the Radiant Health Institute, LLC, located here in Nashville/Bellevue, Tennessee. I'm one of the featured African-American coaches for the greater metropolitan area out of Cycle 15. Amen. You can go check me out on the website. Yes. And I was in church, but I saw, my colleagues struggle mentally, personally, emotionally. And it bothered me because, we were jumping and shouting and celebrating for these hours. And now you're going out here and you're defeated. You're crying on my shoulder. These are issues that you're dealing with and you don't know how to get out of them. And so it was a totally spontaneous move. And I asked my publisher, I was like, you know what? I don't know about this book, but I'm going to write it. The Lord told me to write it.
Bring it on. We need it.
Right. So I wrote the book, and this book, Clergy Conversations, opened up so many doors for me. in the ministry area because it allowed me as a professional coach to go in with a secular skill set to go in and speak to people on how to navigate through difficult transitions and deal with issues beyond the experience.
Right.
And for ministers, especially seasoned bishops who are of the traditional mindset that coaching, counseling, therapy is somewhat taboo because, sometimes they believe, we should tell Jesus all our problems and tell nobody else.
Right.
But, we live in an age where you need Jesus and a therapist too.
Yes, you do.
Exactly.
Yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do.
So to hear that coming from some of the most traditional Pentecostal voices, it was really like mind blowing because at my age, I'm always conscious of who I speak to, how I speak to him, and how the message is going to be received. But it was a book that I say to this day was divinely inspired. And to be able to just go in and inspire ministers and to help develop them personally and to help them be better in their profession as a lay person,
Sure.
as a minister, as a pastor, is what it's all about. And seeing, people make 360s and literally come back alive to lift the weight and just, it totally blew my mind.
Right.
So I was grateful for the work. I was also able to pay homage to some of the great generals of the faith who've inspired my journey. And the foreword is done by Bishop Anthony Gilliard, great pastor, one of the notables in the Kojic International Department of Evangelism. Great colleague, great mentor of mine. It was such a blessing to be able to be endorsed at that level, and have somebody who spoke, or a seasoned leader who could read that and really give voice to that. The last book, of course, not the last book, the last book that I'm presenting, it is Unleashed, Potential to Purpose, a devotional. So once again, the Lord totally jacked my plans because I was planning to write the sequel to Evolve, which I've been trying to write, but never can get it.
He ain't gonna do it till you're ready for you to do it. So
right.
Timing is everything, you know that. Right. So when is Unleashed? When are we unleashing?
Unleashed is a 31-day devotional which chronicles, gives us 31 days of scriptural focus, contextual stories that help build our faith and help unleash us from the fragile point of just simply raw potential, and pushing us into purpose. I'm so proud of this devotional because this devotional is written not just as another inspirational book, but it is written and it has been composed during some of the most transitional, trial-ridden, cantankerous, chaotic times of my life. It's the epitome of literally God totally rearranging and reorchestrating my life, and how to find consistency in the midst of transition, how to appreciate God despite what you're currently feeling, and how to build yourself up in your most holy faith. Because we all need encouragement. We all need that push. And sometimes, if not most, we don't always have a cheering section. No. And we don't always have cheerleaders. Right. And so sometimes you have to get in there and be your own cheerleader. So the devotional is great. It's due to come out in February of 2020. It's available for pre-order now. You can go to my website.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Decade. Happy New Month. Happy New. You all be blessed. I'm Dr. Julia Royston, bringing you living your best life today, tomorrow, and always. Live your best life. Be blessed.
Live each and every day, love and live your way. Do your very best, learn and lead today. Be the best you can, it's your life. Take a stand, so live.